guys, it's Cassie here with Math OMG. Today we are going to be learning how to find parametric equations for a line given 2 points. So if we look at this problem, the first thing that we notice is we're given an A and a B coordinate. A is -2, 3 and B is 3, 6. Our goal is going to be to take these 2 points and make a parametric equation, which means put each equation in respect to t with y and x. So the first thing we need to look at is what's our initial and what's our terminal point. So our initial point in this case is going to be the first given value, which is a, and our terminal point is b. And then we are going to create 2 equations. So a parametric equation means we have x equals something with respect to t and y equals something with respect to t. Now here are kind of the way that I like to think about it. This will not be found in a textbook, or at least not any of the textbooks that I looked at, so don't try to go and find these equations somewhere else. This was just the way that it seemed most logical to me, so this is kind of how I set it up and then how I teach my students how to do it. So the first thing we have to do is find an equation with respect to x and t. So it's going to be in this format, which looks very similar to when you are finding slope-intercept form of a linear function. You have your variable, in this case x, equals your initial amount plus some, we can call it slope, times t, and then you also have an equation with respect to y and t. And then we need to figure out, okay, so when t is 0, my x needs to be -2, my y needs to be 3, so that means my x for this equation and y for this equation. And then when t equals 1, my x needs to be 3 and my y needs to be 6. And these numbers right here, the 0 and 1, will always be the case in every textbook I've looked at. That's always the case, is we're trying to figure out between those 2 parameters of 0 and 1. We're trying to figure out that line. And then our game plan for doing this is just going to be to use these formulas. So as we go through and write this, the first thing I'm going to do is separate this. So I need to make an equation for an x equals and for a y equals. Now this a1 for x, and I'm going to write this down. So I'm just going to write down all the information I need so that I'm not confused going back and forth. I need to figure out in my equation, which is a1 plus wt, I need to make an equation, so I need to find a1 and I need to find w. And I need to know these facts. When t is 0, my x is supposed to be -2, and when t is 1, my x is supposed to be 3. And I got those from these equations. So this part right here represents your x, and then the second coordinate represents your y, just like in a normal xy point. So my a1 is pretty easy. It's always my initial point x value. So the initial was a, and the initial x value of point A is -2. So A is -2. And then W, I don't know, but I do know that I have a t value of 1 when x is 3. So if I know those 3 unknowns, then all I have to do is solve for W. So when x is 3, A1 is always -2, so that's going to stay -2, plus W times time, or t, not time, t, which is 1. And then I just solve for w. So 3 equals -2 plus w. W times 1 is w. Then I add 2 to both sides, and I get w equals 5. So the equation for x is going to be x equals my initial x value, which was -2, plus w, which I solved for to be 5, times t. So that is my parametric equation for x. Then I do the same thing for y. So y is equal to b1 plus zt. And again, I have similar restrictions. So my b1, that's my first initial x or y value, sorry, my y value. So I'm going to say that is 3. And then I have a z that I don't know. So I'm going to write down z. I'm trying to find that. I don't know that. And then I also know that when t is equal to 1, my y value needs to equal 6. So again, I plug all of that information in and then I solve for z. So y is 6, b1 is 3, z is unknown, and t is 1. So then it's 6 equals 3 plus z. I subtract 3 from both sides. 3 is equal to z. So this equation for y is y equals our initial y value, which is 3, plus z, which is 3t. So here are my two parametric equations, right here and right here. Those are my parametric equations. Now, if it asked me to do this for a line, then I would say that these are my two equations and that my t is going to be from negative infinity to infinity, which should make sense. You want your line to go on forever, so your t values need to go on forever. That's how you create a line. To create the line segment, we just want the line segment between those 2 points. So then the line segment between those 2 points is going to be between these two t values that we created the line with. So for the line segment, we would say t needs to be in between 0 and 1. And that's it. We've created parametric equations of a line given 2 points. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys have questions, please make sure to leave them in the comments and I will do my best to respond and let you know or clarify any ideas. And again, if you want more information on parametric equations, make sure you subscribe to my channel and check out the playlist on parametric equations so that you know everything there is to know with them. Thank you guys so much for watching my videos. If you want to get better at math, subscribe to my videos here. If you want more information on math, click on my website link here.